Thank you, everybody, for coming to this Labor Fest reading, much of it with the Revolutionary Poets Brigade and organized originally by Steve Zeltner and Zeltzer. I'm messing up, but anyway, we're just delighted that everybody's here, and especially the poets. Thank you all for coming. Now I'm sort of reading to the 2022 Labor Fest poetry readings with the Revolutionary Poets Brigade and other wonderful poets. Thank you, Steve Zeltzer. Thank you so much for inviting us and ensuring for the last decade that poetry is a part of the July Labor Fest. Thank you, Lisbeth Bailey, for working with me on this, and John Curl for Zoom hosting and also recording this event. Please note that we will be recorded and John will send out the YouTube link. Many of us are honored to be part of the Revolutionary Poets Brigade and honor the late Jack Hirschman as well, who has always been so pro-labor and such a strong advocate for the rights of people and of labor. Please, all of you, remember to mute when our poets are speaking. Thank you to our audience who may be listening. Poets have to be heard for their words to make a difference. And I'm going to give you a short quotation from Khalil Gibran on the importance of labor. You work that you may keep pace with the earth and the soul of the earth. Okay, so now we are honored to begin with the great poet laureate, San Francisco's 8th and current poet laureate, the author of Someone's Dead Already, Heaven is All Goodbyes, and a curriculum in extrajudicial killing of Black people, titled We Charge Genocide Again. And with this, I would like to bring to our great Zoom gathering, Tongo EISEN-MARTIN, San Francisco's 8th and current poet laureate. Welcome.
Much, much love and solidarity. The boss belongs to the masses now. Got the boss likeness on a string like a love poem. Wild stride speeches replace memories of the boss. We got machine guns in the communist bar tonight. We are naturals in the communist bar. Our boundaries are just a little depth. We stand outside the gates of San Francisco listening to some good preaching. Congratulations. Your mercenaries hurt, your money jungle hurts, your mouths hurt. Merchants of frenetic white flight, luckless and therefore well-armed primitivism reaching down into the patterns of your soul, making for funny stories. I hope they didn't name any kids while they had those kids in those cages. Joy returns to decent revolutionaries, puts a hermitage into fascism. St. Fallujah thumping your shoulder is family and needed, God crawling in between the bullet heat. Yes, our grandparents' God. Thought experiments in the last words of Black organizers. Let's make a periodical of their last words, Lord. The remaining addresses of Black power, we become Angola on both sides. The humor of axis of foot race through public property, remilitarized, pork improved, celestial pork, platinum minted pork, choose your words carefully, pork. The first mirror was clay, the first human was not. Humanity recommencing near the way power. It would be nice to sound universal, not heroin old, heroin passing messages, heroin left laying around the empire, colonized intellectual as a guest in their own hand. It's like a life's work depends on replicating Birmingham caravans or particulate Birmingham. 1 to 5 shells flying at the state capitol sign. Thank you for the resources. Big band scatting up the throat of a surrogate fascist in love with their one eyeball at the parade with tuxedo colored guns, marrying the cowardice, a rerunning white politician is born in a Black neighborhood. Black neighborhood taken as a stage of history. Born of a Black Messiah, taken as a focal biography, is born Black. Legislation, some dimension fused to the side of loud steps. Copper summer riots, but still some blood involved, still some necessary slums involved. Ragtag armies massed in Western height and primary emotions, the light of cocaine, both warped and not warped enough. Images can be cousins. What happens when you step outside the country's sugar gorging? And what good are all you all to the world sitting in heaven? Who are we gonna lay our books for? Who's gonna touch the knives at night and sing to the gaps in between shadows, gaps between our love? Who's gonna teach our knives to sing tobacco roll, teach them that they are family? Picture of Black socialists in a perfected boneyard, in a tributary boneyard, whispering the cheekbones, dim in the wind. Black socialists who will live for 100 years in this graveyard to make this point. that we're in too much pain for naming ceremonies. The ancestors need to inflict on the world our continuity. 1,000 good deeds decorate the 20-year police precinct janitor, a janitor who called it, who needs slides but not like you, telling you of a half-dead humanism to pass the time, a math teacher in a little red book. I used to dream a revolution and even enjoy the dream. Our perfect confidence in the sun, in commemoration, every tambourine 1,000 miles in every direction, playing in a California rant party, rattlers dancing and bleeding over guys non-whitened skin, waiting for the cornfield to shrug. We are forgetful, but your ancestors nevertheless, slowing down the poem to the speed of sweet light, the speed of bedless deaths, the bones of fast friends near a pile of first fruits, a pile of imperialist failings. Oppressor and oppressed give their guns the same nickname. Underground working class sort of goes back to school, sort of studies revolution. The summer belongs to itself now, as does the sharecropper's God, as does the death mask. Real advice from Malcolm. Real rose cores over my Memphis skeleton, a tenor part before dying, playing to our waning blood pressure, our penny-plated gun, the last of the space-time touch. You know, white people would have sold us standing naked on anything. They sold us off a huge garden crystal or peacock feather, would have sold us off a stack of doo-wop records if they could, would have sold us off the perfection of the cosmos. Forestry of drug paraphernalia, suburb spikes in the grass, syringe jungle like a sick bed, execution needle that became a society's bottleneck, preamble news talk or nuclear scientists thank for their work, activists who don't scream black power, rather black component, a painful season gone sentient and well-dressed, taken as a whole, taken in puppet skin. Sentient Sunday, they married 15 sticks of dynamite. We are houseless now and dancing our waistlines into a courtroom floor. Atlantic Ocean throwing my voice into the city weeds of the other Confederacy. I doubled down on this poem, on this gang friendship. Signs of apocalypse in all directions. I'd run this poem into the ground. On my 5th skip meal today, Lord, we become even better friends. Dollar store notebooks in a mass context, pen cap full of books. California color line is played out with necro protest types who sleep on the other earth while we waiting to shoot on a muralist's behalf. This waiting to shoot. An old man's truancy of sorts, or tear stain on the Panther pamphlet. House's bookkeeper speaking about little Bobby the Conqueror, a crisis of open air corrections, chemical extradition, and war songs wearing off. Around the corner from South Texas, you pretending that prison is a river. You married your American cop, black skin, white mantras, like normal speed bullets, changing a normal life, like walking back to the United States in defeat. Much love, y'all.
Thank you so much, Tongo. What a lot to think about. My next poet is MAHNAZ BADIHIAN, Iranian poet and magnificent translator of Farsi and the great Persian tradition. She has many publications to her credit, including Plague 2020 and most recently Ask the Wind, launched just last Saturday at the bookstore, Medicine for Nightmares. She's just a wonderful poet, wonderful translator, and a cherished member of our poetic community.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you, John, for organizing this event. And good to see all your beautiful faces and listening to your beautiful poems. I will read one poem in Farsi and then one poem in English. Both of them are not too long, less than 1 page. تقسیم می کنیم رنگ را، پول را، دسته‌بندی می کنیم آنقدر بود و نبود را تا صد حد مرگ شباهت ها. شهر و خانه و نژادمان را قبیله به قبیله تقسیم می کنیم، انسان را، آسمان را. آنقدر تقسیم کردیم که جمع شباهت هامان به 0 نزدیک شد و کسر تفاوت هامان به قرنها فاصله. با این همه تقسیم چنان گیج هستیم که دیگر نمیدانیم کدام قبیله، کدام دسته، چه رنگی نام انسان را به دوش میکشد. Thank you. This is the language of Rumi and Hafiz. Thank you for listening. I am gonna read one poem from Ask the Wind, the one just launched. I was there, witness to a human being's insanity, killing, demolishing, and beheading. I was there and the news of wars, hungry children, rape, fear of police, fear of losing your home, fear of capitalism hit me in the head every single day. I wish the world was my baby and I could cuddle it, feed it, and protect it. A baby that could grow in nature with peace, next to flowers and trees, birds and animals. Let us start this world over again. Let us call Adam and Eve to make kinder, gentler babies. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I noticed I did not mute. I don't hope that didn't matter, but just lovely, BADIHIAN. Our next poet is Revolt. Hip hop artist, vocalist, activist, and an amazing poet and songwriter. So please welcome us. Welcome to Revolt.
Yo, what's up, everyone? It's good to be here for the Labor Fest. Power to the workers. And I've got a couple pieces for y'all today. I know during these times especially, we are in love with our capitalist oppressors. And so when I say, I don't want to be rich, I want y'all to say with me, I want to be a capitalist. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. I don't want to be rich.
I don't
I want to be a capitalist.
Yeah, all right. So this call and response thing's a little tricky on the video, but let's give it a shot. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist, monopolizing the globe, rule with an iron fist. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. I pull the strings of the puppets. It's power I covet. They call me the 1%, and you know that I love it. While you order cheeseburgers off the dollar menu, I got a date with Ted Turner in a baller venue. Reserved box seats in Madison Square with polar bear and snow leopard skins lining my chair. Chairman of the board, classy, elegant, debonair, Paris Hilton and Halle Berry are trimming my pubic hair. You say you love Jesus, Gandhi, Muhammad. Well, I too am a fan of the prophet. I think about it all the time like Benjamin Stein. I rob the poor, another way to turn water to wine. California got a deficit, dog, we fooling. Gavin Newsom loved to swim in my pool of gold bullion. Like Uncle Scrooge, money on my skin is more soothing than a Thai massage I got from Nicki Minaj. I got the hickey on my neck to prove it, you see. Lifestyles of the rich and famous is like a soup kitchen to me. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. Monopolizing the globe, rule with an iron fist. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. If I rule the world. I guess I do. That sucks for you. I want to feel for your pain, your economic calamity, but compassion, it doesn't run in my family, so it's time to price fix all you shriveled dicks. My Walt Disney flicks brainwashing all of your kids ain't about getting rich. I print money for days. I love laughing from the mountain at you minimum wage slaves, fighting like mice in the laboratory cage. I just made a wager with my homie Bill Gates, who says the unemployment rate is steadily rising since we packed up and outsourced to China. So I gave him a high five and told him to celebrate at our usual spot. Afraid I can't, old boy, my jet is still in the shop. You don't understand what it takes to be me. A CEO's life is hard. I struggle with greed. I got a 12-step support group where healing can foster, and Mark Zuckerberg just agreed to be my sponsor. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. I don't want to be rich. I want to be a capitalist. Monopolizing the globe, rule with an iron fist. I don't want to be rich, but actually, fuck y'all capitalists. So that's a song called Capitalist. It's got a beat and there's music and stuff, but it's hard to do this way. But I got a poem, since I know y'all are like legit super talented poets. And this is on a little more of a serious note. Basically, there's nothing that I fucking hate more. Hopefully I can cuss. There's nothing that I fucking hate more than white supremacy Nazi motherfuckers. And there's a lot of those running around right now. This poem is for them. Offended. No, dog. No one here was offended. But I see what you're trying to do. Offended. Cancel culture. Toxic words that take root. Speaking in code so you can recruit punk ass motherfuckers that look a lot like you. My skin's white too, so I know what you're about. I hear through every trick phrase that leaks out your mouth. Don't need the drawl of the South or a burning cross on a lawn to see you crossing the line with that alt-right shit you be on. The culture's starting to change, and some people might not notice, but I do. Words is my craft, lens sharp, always a focus of mine. Resign before it's too late, and I embarrass your troll-fash cowardly ass hiding in hate speech to reach. Teach about the Aryan race. Adolf, get off the stage for I laugh in your face. Offended, you say, as you spread in hurt and abuse with bigotry, victim blaming, trauma denial, and use obtuse head games or ruse that trigger a short fuse and say, look, they're the aggressor. They got offended. What did I do? Trolling. You use people as tools for a sick game you pretend is for the LOLs, but you're not fooling me. The alt-right playbook I know well. When you trashing minorities with your edgelord Discord chats, somehow, someway, the white race is never attacked. I see through your acts, 'cause part of your message is meant for me. Since I reap the benefits of racism in American society, I'm that white cis man that y'all want to include in your wingnut militia of conspiracy goofs that got duped by the news, which, by the way, all the billionaires own, from demon fuck monopolist Rupert Murdoch to John Malone, who consolidate their wealth to an unprecedented mass, making Uncle Scrooge look like he's on food stamps. While you have to ask for a decent education, health care, or a good paying job, the richest 1% of Wall Street laughs at your little Capitol Hill mob in your Ramo camo boots with your white Jesus religious extremist Mel Gibson wannabe fake patriot rejects feeling robbed of the old Jim Crow good old days with your misplaced nostalgia sob. Gun fetish and HBO Max hyped up Red Bull redneck out of a job. You think they give a fuck who's president? Or if your votes are even counted? They're laughing all the way to the Bank of America to put a subprime mortgage on your houses, to see your buying power diminished, eviscerate the middle class while you scrimmage about skin pigment and simple non-binary ass, blowing your top, can't stop arguing about what bathroom transgender folks are in, while internet bots fan the flames of your thoughts against Asian Americans, so you don't stop to question who's really punking your ass. Every second of every hour, every day, Bezos gets $10 billion in our taxes to fuck around in outer space, build a mansion on Mars, while you're groomed to think China's to blame like they're invading Ukraine and bailing out banks. We already have socialism for the rich. Trillions in handouts to JP Morgan and Chase Manhattan. So how you gonna flatten the curve with vaccine nanoparticle theories and this goddamn offended word? Every time you say offended, another billionaire gets their wings. Every time you say cancel culture, the capitalists sing. Just don't play dumb with me. Like you don't got an agenda in place, 'cause I know it ain't accidental that somehow, someway, you never attack the white race. I got your ass on my radar. I ain't falling for your tricks, so you can stop being a bigot or accept getting your ass kicked by an intellectual rapper, poet, philosopher, debater, battler, MC on the mic. I don't get offended, but I do devour the tasty morsels of the fascist alt-right.
Thank you, Revolt. Thank you. And I saw Steve Zeltzer came in for a moment and I wanted to thank him and clap, but I don't know. He's kind of in and out. Anyway, our next poet is the town crier, Raymond Nat Turner, a New York City poet who read at the Harriet Tubman Centennial Symposium. He's an artistic director of Jazz Poetry Ensemble, Upsurge New York City, which has appeared in numerous festivals and venues, including the Monterey Jazz Festival on another coast and Panafest in Ghana, West Africa. So we welcome you, Raymond Nat Turner, the town crier. You need to unmute. You need to unmute, Raymond. Raymond, we can't hear you.
I heard you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Sorry,
And
I didn't mean
it takes
to
a
be rude.
minute to
Okay.
execute an order or a
Sorry.
command or a suggestion, whatever it may have been. So in any case, I said, thank you very much for your kind introduction. I'm gonna do one piece. I'm on another program shortly afterwards, Black Fire, this time a new anthology that's just come out. And so I'm gonna do a piece that I wrote for the Million Worker March in 2004, and also for a fallen comrade, Brother Ray Kwan, who was a Asian American activist in the San Francisco Bay Area that was well respected and much loved by forces in the working class. And also he was a big fan of our band Upsurge, and now Upsurge NYC. So this is called March, March, March for the Million Worker March and Brother Ray Kwan. 1, wizardry tattooing highways on mountainsides, scooping diamonds from Mother Earth's inflamed womb, weaving towers from Chicago wind, Santiago sun, bejeweling New York skyline, magic, conjuring, city-sized ships gliding smoothly beneath great white horses, trotting above ports, crowning chassis with treasure chests, waltzing through traffic to warehouses, windows, and bellies of the world. Yet crippled pallets loiter on loading docks, no longer loaded with dark skins, sparkling under fresh coats of sweat, and lunch bucket language lingering beneath blue plumes of forklift fumes. Instead, dust dances on sunbeams streaming through busted eyes, where ghostly weeds peek through concrete once rumbling with machines 24/7. We'll work for food, reads the crumpled cardboard sign at the long light, 2 blocks down and a world away from corn syrup slogans of recovery's just around the corner, getting out votes for Dems, vetoing resistance. 2, We flip the burgers and peel the potatoes. We pick the grapes, lettuce, and tomatoes. We print Bibles, Qurans, euros, pesos, dollars. We stitch breeches, shirt sleeves, and collars. We print newspapers, phone and electric bills. We press stethoscopes, scalpels, dental drills. We sweat broke over plows and milk worn cows. Stitch the belts and shoes, ship the rhythm and blues. March, 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 militant rank and file. March, 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 forward an inch, a mile. March, 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 we never march alone. March, 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 with leaders of our own. Robinson, Willis, Silas, Soto, Thomas, Toussaint, Tura. March, 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 militant rank and file. March, 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 forward an inch, a mile. March, 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 we never march alone. March, 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 with leaders of our own. Romero, Silvera, Stokely, Stevens, Shanklin, Schoenman. Our sorcery divines water, electricity, and gas, clarifies sewage, transports the mass. March, 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 militant rank and file. March, 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 forward an inch, a mile. March, 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 we never march alone. March, 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 with leaders of our own. Bailey, Montilla, Mombasa, Mazakazu, Nyasha, Quezada. We push the papers, we monitor the screens, we count the rand, rupees, and beans. March, 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 militant rank and file. March, 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 forward an inch, a mile. March, 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 we never march alone. March, 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 with leaders of our own. Graham, Griggs, Griffin, Gonticeros, Becker, Black. March, 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 militant rank and file. March, 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 forward an inch, a mile. March, 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 we never march alone. March, 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 with leaders of our own. Corbin, DeWitt, Durham, Gatto, Gillis, Heyman. We scrub gilded toilets and mop marble floors, yet kill blindly in rich men's wars. March, 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 militant rank and file. March, 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 forward an inch, a mile. March, 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 we never march alone. March, 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 with leaders of our own. Hilliard, Holmes, Lawrence, Maspero, Miyashiro, Mohammed. March, 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 militant rank and file. March, 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 forward an inch, a mile. March, 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 we never march alone. March, 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 with leaders of our own. Reyes, Riley, Casey, Gilbert, Quan, Holly, Zimmerman. March, 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 workers on a rise. March, 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 October surprise. March.
Thank you, Raymond. March with leaders of our own. Yeah, thank you. Great. Our next poet, it looks like it will be the great Dan Brady. Before that, I do notice Steve Zeltzer is here. I don't see his face, but his name is here. So we want to thank you for, oh, hey, Steve, yay.
Thank you, solidarity. It's beautiful hearing your voices.
There he is.
Yes.
and he always makes sure that the poets are included. Did you want to say something, Steve?
Well, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. And I wish it could be physical, but you know, this COVID pandemic is hurting us. And I want to just make a remembrance to Jack Hirschman. We loved him, and I wish he could be here with us. He's a leader in the struggle, and his voice is so powerful, you know, that he made on the streets, on strikes, on working class struggles, housing, all these struggles for working people. And I miss him, and I think we've got to bring his voice forward as part of Labor Fest. So I want to thank you all. And also, we are going to have a boat ride on the 31st out in the bay, and we'd like to have some poets, maybe do some poetry. We need the voices of the poets. So it's a beautiful thing you're having. And we've got to, we have had some other poetry events from around the country, and we want to expand it because there are a lot of tremendous voices that need to get out here and around the world. So thank you, brothers and sisters, for supporting this. It's a great sound here.
Thank you so much, Steve. And you know, we do have poets that aren't just San Francisco. We've got, you know, we have one who's trying to come in from Paris. So the labor movement is alive and well.
And maybe
thank
we
you
should try
so
to have
much,
a
Steve, for
monthly
making an
international
appearance here
poetry.
and for your,
Yeah. Maybe we should try to have a monthly
you know,
international poetry reading. That would be great, from poets all over the world, working class poets.
maybe all poetry readings should be a little bit international, but thank you very much,
Okay,
Steve. And
thank
thank
you.
you for your remembrance of Jack.
Great.
That he is part of this whole group today, and we're all
Absolutely.
thinking of him. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, the next poet, Dan Brady, and again, thank you again. See, I'm looking all over my little things here, and I just wanted, I wanted to thank the town crier. I wanted to say the town crier again, Raymond Nat Turner, for a wonderful presentation. And now Dan Brady, who is the host extraordinaire of Sacred Grounds, a published poet, and he's very whimsical. He has a little cat he calls Butter, and don't spread the butter. Don't spread butter on butter. It's Butter the cat is the name of the cat. And I always hope that Butter the cat does not get in connection with Dan's other favorite creature, which are humble doves, otherwise known by most of us as pigeons. So with that, may I introduce you, Dan Brady?
Well, hello, but the two animals are not my animals. There's a conflation there. It's all right. Something in the chat really quickly, because this is talking about what the other person just talked about, poetry around the world. And so in the chat, there's two links really. A little note about the Global Open Mic, which tells you a bit about it. And then below that, the second one is the web page that has all the listings I've been able to find. I'm looking for listings anywhere in the world that do live streaming. If it's a live streaming poetry open mic that has a schedule, let me know. I find out, I check it out, I add it to the list. And a couple days ago, I found this person who has like 400 things on a list that he put together somewhere along the line. So they're out there, but it should be easy. And if someone, anyway, so this touches on the topic. And I don't think we'd have poems like this were we to have a society that was fair, logical, reasonable, and rational. Imagine that. Imagine logic, reason. Did I say reason? Reason? Anyway, so, and I don't know what my time is like, but I'll read this first one. It'll take you back and then remind you of today. How about that? I haven't looked at the news yet, so anyway, here we go. This is called Another One Bites the Dust. Another one, ladies and gents, yet another. This time, a synagogue in Philadelphia yet already, the city of brotherly love, in the Tree of Life Synagogue yet already. Nice name, nice neighborhood, very nice day, sunny and all that, quiet, yep, serene. When a crazed loony, noted rabid anti-Semite, who said, quote, "I can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered," said, "I'm going in." And by God, he did. Guns ablazing, people screaming, dying, police shot up while the perp gets wounded, downed, and taken to hospital. Then there follows the usual coverage of grief, crying, shrieking, same old, same old. Still, there were things to mull over. Someone said, "Looks like an anti-Semitic crime." No shit, Sherlock. I mean, wow, what insight on the news. Of course, the resident dim bulb, the dump, weighed in. "It's a terrible, terrible thing," he said. "If there had been an armed guard inside the temple," he said. What a lame-brained idiot. But it was Governor Tom Wolfe saying these words: "These senseless acts of violence are not who we are as Americans." And that's what prompted this, my take on the matter. First, he's just plain wrong on that score. Dead wrong, in fact. This event was as American as apple pie, as they used to say. Gun killings happen every day, dozens of times a day. Thousands, let that think in, thousands die every year. Actually, it's tens of thousands every year. In fact, during the years of the Vietnam War, or the American War in Vietnam, we had far more dead and wounded on the streets and in the homes of America than we ever did on the battlefields of that godforsaken conflict. Go back, do the math. It's there, public knowledge. Yet where are daily, weekly vigils and marches? Where is the countrywide public display and outcry? I've asked before, what will it take? What in God's name will it take? Yeah. Go back to your 1,000-channel media centers, your music videos, posting your selfies, log into your investment portfolios, go to work, do your jobs, buy something already. Enjoy your tiny little lives. Offer prayers, send a check. Hang your head at the water cooler and say, "It's just terrible." Tell yourself, it's just another lone wolf. Then look up the term stochastic terrorism. See what it means. Learn what's going on. It's brainwashing by the Brigade, perps prompted by propaganda, and malevolent minds manipulated by the media. It's all there, the map, the dots, the connections, and yet good Christian ministers spew it. The residential dim bulb spews, and the innocent, unwary, or simply luckless die as they attend a nice place of worship in a nice neighborhood on an ordinary day when the wind is soft, the air sweet, and love, oh, love is murdered by madness. Now, I don't know if I have more time. If I do, I'll do one. If not, I will accede to the check.
You do great haikus.
I could do a couple just to wash the taste, so to speak. So this one is one of my favorites. Well, after my favorites. Okay, so the first one. White House dilemma. Stage a first responder with the worst responder. And then this one is a true haiku. That one was too, but this is from the garden. Okay. In a cleft of clover, single dewdrop gleams, all the sun's circle inside. And if I can do one, this last one is the oldest one, and it goes back to a childhood memory. Everybody knows what a water strider is, I'm assuming, because I say that some people don't. Water strider, a kick ripples the moon. Thank you very much.
Those are lovely. Yeah, it froze a little bit in the last two haikus, but we got the idea.
All right.
And my apologies. I just thought maybe pigeons and your kitty cat were your favorite animals. I didn't say that they were all in your house.
Oh no, cats are, I do enjoy cats, and my brother raised pigeons when we were young, and pigeons were very friendly with myself. Thank you so much, everyone. Check out the links.
Thank you very much, Dan. Always a pleasure. And next we have KRISTINA Brown, a very important co-editor of the anthology, very involved and very helpful and making sure that our anthology got out, which was launched recently and will be really launched soon. And she is a published poet and writer who lives in North Beach. She is modest about her accomplishments as a lawyer and activist, but often writes about what people will and won't do. Love. KRISTINA.
I'd like to begin by thanking John and Karen and Steve for making this event possible. And I'd like to thank you all for being here. It is good to see your faces. I'm going to begin, well, I'm going to read two pieces, one about the power of work and the other about courage and joy. Starting with the power of work. Bright green saris for the Lakshmishri self-help group of Bengal and all the working women of the world. Bright green saris. Their bright green saris signal love and joy, new leaves and shoots, the fresh beginnings of life. They are all women, strong, beautiful women with rich brown skin and long silken hair. They stand or lounge on the decks of small wooden boats. They travel across mangrove swamps and across open sea. They are heroes. Now, all around them is the verdant jungle mangrove heaven they have created. Herons and other birds rise from green islands of trees surrounded by fish. The women, did I already say they are all women? They wear green saris, too bright to be called emerald. They sail across what was once rough water and mudflats before they, in their thousands, planted all the mangroves. Doing hard work to hold back the storm surge and save the world, they plant seeds at nurseries in the swamp, float the seedlings on flats to empty mud banks, and replant them there. Then they watch over them. Their work is paid. They have prestige in their families and outside too. At first, it was not easy. Not everyone took them seriously because they were women. Does this sound familiar? The heroes chose the green saris and shirts themselves, so everyone who saw them would understand they were on an important mission. and would be inspired too. And it worked. Now everyone around them is on board. Thank you. And second, we love the sea, Ocean Beach. Water, salt water is the stuff of our bodies, the foundation of all life on the planet, the engine of the air, our atmosphere and weather. We love the sea. We love to swim and float and sail and surf and dive, but we dare not dive too deep or swim out too far. We cannot breathe water, cannot drink the sea. We're safer on the beach or at the top of a mountain, looking down at the sparkling waves. To go out to sea without a boat is to invite death. This sunny afternoon at Ocean Beach, sailboarders and surfers skitter across the wide water. We play with the forces of the sea and the wind, but the rip currents flow fast, sweep someone away almost every year. Unknowing waders in 1 foot of water and experienced surfers who knew all the breaks are pulled away out to sea, are only sometimes rescued or swim free. The ocean, the sea, can be like love, any kind of love. You don't know how dangerous it is until you're in too deep to easily withdraw. The ocean can be like love in the best way too. It can bear you up above and beyond all expectation, lift you into the sun and air, allow you to breathe and to feel free to be yourself. Or like love, the sea can smash you down into the lowest depths, never let you be seen again, grind your corpse for fish food. How any voyage goes depends on accurate information, good judgment, and luck. We do not want to be like Shelley and sail into a storm, end up drowned. But sometimes we must fly into the tempest. To wait is to be smashed to pieces in port, never to take off again. So grab your flotation device, your giant pink plastic flamingo, or whatever form your confidence or courage or spirit takes, and leap into the sea of love and life. But take care, the surf's always up and rip currents hide everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristina. I love that. The rip currents are always up. Beautiful. Thank you. Carol Denney, the wonderful prize-winning lyricist, guitarist, concertina player, humorist, cartoonist, fiddler. She plays with Failure to Disperse, Acoustic Revolt, and Roadshow, and Sons of the Buccaneers. But her favorite place, she says, is making good trouble with the Revolutionary Poets Brigade. So I'm really delighted to introduce to you. So, Carol.
All right. Tell me if there's any sound issue. I've got a guitar here. Sound okay? Yeah. All right. And I'm just going to play it quietly because apparently Zoom is a terrible sound engineer. So I wrote this song called Pregnant and in Jail the day the decision came down from the Supreme Court, and I was inspired to say something. And there's a chorus and it has hand gestures. So you can go pregnant and like roll around your belly, and in jail and hang on to the bars and sing along if you can. So I can see, oh, wait. Here we go. I can see my future through my kind of eyes. It's gonna happen fast. If you all get in her way, she's going to kick your butt. Pregnant and in jail. Pregnant and in jail. Let the men do all the work. We're pregnant and in jail. The court has intellectuals. They must have studied hard, but somehow they left women out. They did it from the start. Not sure what we all did wrong. It is a tired tale. We're here together singing songs. Pregnant and in jail. Pregnant and in jail. Pregnant and in jail. Let the men do all the work. We're pregnant and in jail. I don't know how we pull this out. Not sure what we do. It's really hard to change until the men get pregnant too. If it's the potential life that gets to make the call, why can't all the eggs I got each have a vote this fall? We're never getting laid again. The men begin to see that all the dating apps they use are empty as can be. The court supremist has focus, but watch the tables turn. It's all about the eggs right now, but wait till it's the sperm. Pregnant and in jail. Pregnant and in jail. Let the men do all the work. We're pregnant and in jail. We'll all be singing sappy songs about the days of Roe and how we all got rounded up and how we missed them so. But here we are in county court. The men can send us mail. We hope to make some license plates. We're pregnant and in jail. Pregnant and in jail. Just the women now. Pregnant and in jail. Now everybody, let the men do all the work. We're pregnant and in jail. Pregnant and in jail. Don't forget the hand gestures. Pregnant and in jail. Let the men do all the work. We're pregnant and in jail. Thank you so much. That's kind of a long song, so that was all I was going to do. Thank you guys for your voices. I
Thank-
love hearing them.
Thank you, Carol. Yep, that was very poignant and prescient. Thank you. And our next is Diana L. Long, Vallejo Poet Laureate, Emerita. She is an internationally published Jewish American poet who served as Poet Laureate of Vallejo from 2017 to 2019. So welcome, Poet D.L. Long. Welcome, Diana.
Hi, it's wonderful to be here. I'm honored to be performing among you all. I have two poems. The first one is called This planet cries out. To live on this planet in these times is to swallow a giant dose of reality, if you're paying attention at all. It is so easy to escape into fantasy, to only focus on what we can control, but something deeper is stirring inside my soul. It calls me to speak out, ignoring all risk. How do we make sense of a world that allows poverty, war, and greed to flourish? How do we make sense of a world that runs on money instead of love? How do we make sense of a world that allows a wealthy few to destroy our home? How do we make sense of a world so utterly broken and upside down? How do we make sense of a world that is so unbelievably heartbreaking it would be sinful to be well-adjusted? The planet cries out to us in all her multitudes of language that very soon we all must do something about this broken trust. Young people march in the streets, crying out to all the adults who have become complacent. Don't we deserve to know some peace? Don't we deserve to know real freedom? Don't we deserve to know equality? Don't we deserve to experience love? Don't we deserve to realize our dreams? Don't we deserve to know stability? Don't we deserve to inherit a world? Period? We deserve so much better than this. Yet, we stay on the hamster wheel, gorging ourselves to fill the emptiness, serving ourselves and tuning out, feeling apathy and hopelessness, rather than rising in defiance just so that we might know a better future. This next poem is called Labor Shortage. Capitalism doesn't care about us. The working class provides the labor only to be met with peanuts in return. In this system, we are dispensable. It leaves us starving, homeless, and sick. Its hungry mouth devours our earth, perpetuating a global system built on genocide, slavery, incarceration, and war. It leaves our neighbors living in squalor, robbing their countries of resources, bombing them when they dare to stand up, so the rich may live in glittery debauchery. When will we finally throw a wrench into the golden gears of greed? The system divides and subdivides humanity until we all lie lonely and broken, yearning for community and meaning. Every right we now hold was fought for by those who envisioned a better world and risked everything to bring it about. It is an ongoing struggle for dignity. Is there really a labor shortage, or have the people finally awakened to the real value of their work, standing up to demand what's right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diana. I'm still pondering, it's a sin to be well adjusted. I love that. Okay, we're going to be moving on now to Sarah MENEFEE. She's a San Francisco poet, homeless organizer, homeless movement organizer, and a founding member of the League of Revolutionary for a New America. First, they came for the whole busy activist lady. Her latest poetry collection that I know of, there may be something after that, but I know is a wonderful book called Cement. And it's from Swimming with Elephants Publications. So Sarah, would you please join us?
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I'm going to do a little commercial if you can see this. Really proud. I'm a with the League of Revolutionaries, co-organizer of a feature and open reading series the last Saturday every month. On July the 30th, we have Matt Cedillo from LA and points around the globe coming up here to read, and our Francisco Arrego, and that's from 4 to 6 at the Black and Brown Social Club. So I'll put the information on the chat. So I have a couple of short poems to read. I'm very pleased. This is lovely. I'm very pleased to be part of it. Labor Fest. It's a great ongoing tradition and our Revolutionary Poets Brigade. So this is called May Day, the workers' holiday. And, you know, when life springs back in its glory. May Day. It's May Day, but you're no longer a worker. Neither is he with his blown out knees, his frazzled constant scavenge. No longer is she, but she has to work the streets day and night to stay alive. I am poor too, but not nearly as poor as that, not yet. And May Day is ours, here in our exile, here within our laboring bodies. May they break into lilacs. And thank you. This is called I Confess. My pen needs some exercise, but I don't have much to say. There's fascism afoot, and I just want to sit in this gentle light. I confess. Here's to they who bleed and die again each day, and he out there with his home on wheels, parked next to an outside cafe table. I am stopped in the blessed sun, in the homeless breeze. Thank you. Happy Labor Fest. Labor Fest. I'm talking too good today.
You're muted, Karen. Unmute yourself. Karen, we
Thank
can't
you.
hear you.
I know. Thank you. I got it. I thought I was unmuted, but it sometimes slips around. Anyway, Antoinette Payne is our next poet. She is a regular at Sacred Grounds, and she helps out all the time. She makes sure that things keep going, like Richard Sanderell's event on First Tuesdays in the Haight. She makes sure it keeps going. She's an amazing, amazing lady. So I just would like to bring her up and let her say her wonderful poetry.
Great.
Antoinette.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be a part of this 29th annual Labor Fest celebration in San Francisco and be a part of the poetic contribution to that source. I have two poems, two short poems. The first one's called It's So Convenient. Amazon, all-encompassing, yet unlike its namesake, the dense, teeming swath of tropical rainforests in northwestern Brazil, where survival depends on ecological balance. When I told my brother I avoid shopping at Whole Foods and Target, my revolt against commercial conglomeration, he laughed, saying my paltry spending has no effect on billionaires' bottom line. Perhaps, but a million boycotts can make a dent, fighting greed culture like a vulture, entirely focused on what's good for itself, forgetting to care for the system as a whole and all the people in it, knowing our actions impact others, end child labor, end factory farmed meat production, closest thing to hell on earth, pay more than minimum wage, shop local, eat organic, power down, live well in a world where life is good for all. And then I have a short other one called The Redstone Labor Temple, 2940 16th Street, San Francisco. Phantasmagoria of composition, structured lunacy, grubby little hands, fake fine futures, enthralled with himself, hoarding for centuries, one person, king of everyone, haunts the Redstone Labor Temple, circa 1914, where the living wage office of mundane resilience doesn't ever come around. Squat here safely under moon's lantern, liberating reverence for the left. That's all I have. Thank you so much. Again, pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Pleasure to have you. And now we are honored to have what the poetry community speaks of as the great voice. And this is Gregory Pond, just a wonderful poet, published poet, and everybody knows him. So he doesn't really need a lot of introduction, but we're just delighted to have our friend and poet, eloquent poet, Greg Pond, come to tell us about life.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, John. Thank you, Steve. And thank you, everybody. Great to see you all. Early bird. Early bird will get his worm after he sings the stars a song. He has to wait until those eggs in the sky crack open the new day's dawn. He never makes haste, takes his own sweet time. He twitters and tweets in the shadows of the night. Backyard to front gate, pine tree to cable line, to right around the corner when morning opens its eyes. Early bird, however, doesn't seem to realize that the shades of the sky at dusk sometimes mimic those of sunrise. So when he's coming early, he's actually half a day behind, because twilight can sometimes disguise itself as the horizon's first peak of gray when the morning sun wakes too soon before it chases last night's moon away. Early bird sitting up in the tree, your next shift starts in an hour. Better get you some sleep. While the crow soars high once the rooster opens its beak, you better be ready to take flight. Early bird, are you ready to patrol the sky? Or are you just gonna stay home and tweet? That's early bird. And one more, it's an older one, peace, brother. Peace go with you, brother. As you walk your walk through the crumbling dark, looking for a random glow or tiny spark to guide you through the night. It's all right if we don't always agree. And though we don't often see eye to eye or each other's reasons why, will you stand up for me when they come with chains to take away men who believe that freedom shouldn't be a deferred dream? Peace go with you, brother, as you talk your talk from corner lots to playground parks. Drop some knowledge, leave a mark on the hearts of those willing to listen to the missing chapters of our history over centuries of diminished dignity. From ship to shore, slave to poor, it's no mystery when 1 million men march 1 million miles or more to press their shoulders together in united strength and force to open the deadlocked cell block doors marked freedom is still a deferred dream. May peace go with you, brother, for now we need each other more than ever before. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Greg. Yes, we need it more than ever before. And our next poet is the one with the wonderful name ROARSHOCK. And ROARSHOCK, otherwise D.A. ROARSHOCK Wilson, is a San Francisco poet whom I most often see internationally on Zoom. He is author of First Hours of a Rainy Day and Other Poems, and publisher of Rorschach Page, a literary street flyer. He reads regularly, locally and internationally, in person and on the social web. And he can be found online at his website, www.rorschach.net. So he's findable. And we're glad that he found us here today, and welcome, Rorschach.
Thanks, Karen. And what a treat to be here with all of you. I have 2 poems. New health plan work poem. insurance reprogramming, well-groomed female sales representatives with starched pink collars, carbon copy claims. We are talking about your sickness, hemmed in by the 1-800 number. She talks so fast and locks me in a micro sauna sweat box. I must do calisthenics until I get my ID card. I will prefer the provider of concord and the religion of booze. Slideshows show how to dial the phone. Pay $20? In essence, yes. Technically, no. Socialized medicine? Not in America, bub. Why work in this gray office? The concrete blockhouse? Because these are big, mean times. I mean, these are mean times and I need the money. Sorry, guys, no psychiatric treatment. No drug abuse. Not in this day and age. But pharmacy visits are deductible, but no psychotherapy, even though you all have tunnel vision. I want to break out. I need to and will. Here is my second piece. This is called Labor Day in Berkeley. On Labor Day, I felt myself a stranger in the city I hold dear. I felt my long hanging hair pull at the edges of my face, the dark circles and lines etched against my eyes. On the avenue, the holiday crowd did throng, buzzed about and hung out. I began to dissolve on a street corner, afraid a sudden wind would blow my life away. The cobbles on the campus bucked and swayed, and history passed me by in all its swirling shapes. I saw a face that I could love or hate. A body moved with utmost supple grace. I will never live the dream I dreamed today. Perfect love brought down by truth and doubt. Does this path have a heart? No, it does not. And all I want is out. Thanks for having me.
There's no out, Rorschach. You got to stick it out.
I know, I wrote that a long time ago.
And next we have Nina Serrano, a beautiful poet, active 86-year-old. I'm afraid it's okay with me if I mention ages. She looks like, I mean, isn't 86 the new 50? I don't know. Anyway, she lives in Vallejo and she produces La Raza Chronicles and cover-to-cover radio programs for KPFA in Berkeley, literary dialogues with Nina Serrano for Uzcot Radio in Vallejo. So Nina, please, if I mispronounce something, my apologies, and please join us. We are delighted to have Nina here to read to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Karen. Actually, I'm 87 years old. My poem, oh, thank you. My poem is Solidarity Forever, May Day 2017. It was May Day, a little chilly, but spring bloomed in Fort Bragg, that Northern California coastal town. I'd already spent the morning climbing sand dunes at my elderly pace, yet still tired even after a nap. But it was May Day. At noon, my son had phoned to say, upholding the family tradition with your grandson, great-grandson, and thousands on the march here in San Francisco. Could I do less? A march had been rumored for 3 p.m. in Fort Bragg, so I went down to join the rally. Instead of thousands, there were maybe 25, some SEIU staff labor people, militants trained for leadership. Some like me, gray-haired movement vets. We sang along and knew all the words. The march began with a scant 15 or 25s, carrying signs and pickets along downtown streets, led by union organizers. Due at another event in another town soon, chanting strong, loud in English and Spanish. After a block or so, I was lagging behind. The man next to me dropped out. I was marching alone, carrying a sign with the others a half block and then a block ahead. Feeling lonely, vulnerable, and tired, holding a handmade placard in a strange town, I was ready to abandon ship, dump the sign, and find a way home. Just then, 2 big guys, young guys, flanked me on either side. We've come to walk with you. Go as slowly as you need. All thoughts of rest and home, and I'm too tired for this, too old, flew away. Step by exhausted step, I made it those last blocks to the end, singing Solidarity Forever in my heart. Thank you. This next poem is also about May Day and probably took place around 1940. May Day. I was enthroned up on my uncle's shoulders, watching the May Day marchers over the heads of other onlookers. Wages up, prices down, make New York a union town, they chanted in unison. When they said up, they raised their placards, or down, they lowered them. The economic model and their choreography dazzled me, appealing ideas for a lifetime. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, Nina. Makes me think, and thank you, Steve Zeltzer, for mentioning Jack, of course. Makes me think of one of my favorite poems of Jack's. I think it's called Path. And it's the one where he says, if you don't have a broken heart, go get one. And when you read, Nina, and I just think of what a, just what a wonderful, warm person you are. You're always the one who encourages somebody, supports somebody, says something when somebody needs it. And that's having a heart. I think that's kind of a little bit of what Jack meant. If you don't have a broken heart, go find one, go get one. Anyway, thank you, Nina. And next we have a very rich heart, and that is John Curl, who has spent much of his life writing about corporations and collectives and all the things that we're talking about today when it comes to a rich and supportive labor force, supportive on both sides, where there's a mutuality of work and acceptance and helpfulness. And I think John Curl represents that so much in all of his writings. He spent a lot of time writing on the indigenous people, who are also representative of what we're talking about, caring for nature, caring for each other, caring for justice. So I would like to bring John Curl to talk to us about his idea of life. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. That's beautiful. I brought one poem today, and it's a poem that I call a farm worker's song. Downtown, steel and glass, office suite on the 21st floor, pasty necks on top of ties, silver cufflinks, manicured hands. Those are the farmers of our land, financiers, profiteering seed to supermarket, controlling 80% of our farmable land, and doing all the real work down there in the sun-scorched fields, backs cracking, hardly able to straighten after a hard day in the rows, are the hired hands. Whole families, children too, sometimes 10, 12 hours a day, following the harvest, farm to farm. That's the way it's been in California farms as far back as anybody remembers. So over half a century ago, back in the 1960s, thousands of farm workers organized themselves into the UFW, the United Farm Workers Union, stood together in Delano, California, alongside Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta, and declared they'd work no more under slavery conditions. Pesticide cloud blows in your face, arm caught in a harvesting machine. Foreman says, you got 30 plants to prune every hour. If you don't, hit the road, tell your complaints to the white line, and take off your hat when you see the boss. Then, as soon as the crops are in, or as soon as you're hurt and can't work, get lost. And the pay's so low. At the end of the week, sometimes everything you earned goes right back to the boss's price gouging store and rent for sleeping in his chicken coop. So it's hard to get even a few days ahead by the time he lays you off. Not even eligible for unemployment. And you've got no legal right to a union to fight to better your situation, because the growers got farm workers excluded from most of the labor laws. And after 10 bitter years of picket, march, boycott, and petition, the UFW won a few contracts and a few recognitions. Farm workers from Washington State to Florida caught fire and began to organize. So the growers and financiers turned to then President Richard Nixon, who brought in the labor racketeers. Whenever a contract expired, they set up a gangster union in place of the UFW. No elections, kick ass, and whoever refuses to join gets fired. Strike, strike. 63 farms, 7,000 workers, ranch after ranch, thousands of black eagles soaring on red flags. But the growers own the courts and politicians, and the judges scribbled injunctions forbidding pickets, and the deputies cracked skulls and packed the jails. The coyotes trucked in armies of scabs, and workers' lifetime savings were drained for doctors, fines, and bails. Goons stalked the roads with tire irons and chains. Vigilantes with rifles prowled the field. Hundreds hospitalized, thousands jailed. Thousands more of us watched from near and far and saw that it was our struggle too. Many thousands helped by boycotting scab grapes and scab wines. Thousands more of us joined protest marches and chanted on picket lines. We won some and lost some. Some new protections were written into the labor laws, but despite all the people's power that our solidarity was able to employ, the United Farm Workers Union was almost destroyed. That was a half century ago. But the union survived and persisted through decade on decade of struggle. And the UFW is still out there today fighting for farm workers' rights. But in the fields, things haven't changed much. California farm workers today remain as they almost always have been, vulnerable and exploited. So the next time you sit down to a meal, think of the hands in the fields that put their blood into that food for you, and keep your ears peeled for cries from the fields. Get ready. If you hear the call, we're all lost if we don't stick together. It's the farm workers who feed us all.
So much truth there. If you say grace, say it to the farm workers. Say it to the healthy fruit that you get and hope that it can remain healthy. If there were a few people who were thinking they might get here late, if there's anybody else here who I'm missing, otherwise I'm going to be doing my little poems and we'll be saying goodbye to this wonderful collective of poets. It's such an honor to be part of all of this, and gee, it's just been great. So I'm going to do first a commemoration of two people that we dare not forget, Elijah Cummings and John Lewis. We mourn. This I wrote a while ago, but we lost them within a year of each other. So John and Elijah, beacons of hope, gracing our last generation, speaking wisdom in Congress, holding a mirror before our eyes to see what our nation has become, is becoming, and can become. John Lewis, member of Congress 33 years, severely injured by police in Selma in 1965, beaten and arrested in countless sit-ins and demonstrations for justice, told us when we face a challenge, we can decide what is right or wrong. John left us yesterday, and he left his charge to us. If not us, then who? If not now, then when? Elijah Cummings, dead 8 months before, at age 68, rose from poverty to become the most eloquent speaker of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, called by Nancy Pelosi our North Star, guiding Congress to rise to a higher purpose, said in his last month, weak from ill health, when we're dancing with the angels, the question will be asked, what did we do to make sure we kept our democracy intact? Did we stand on the sidelines and do nothing? He asked when Freddie Gray was killed, did anyone recognize Freddie when he was alive? Did you see him? Before Black men are made martyrs, do we see them or are they invisible? Elijah and John made us see everyone and seek justice. And this is my last poem called Inequity and Infrastructure. 26 people hold half the wealth of the whole world, and people still are starving, still are coming over on matchbox boats and plastic rafts to escape starvation or violence or war. Another baby washed on shore in Kos, like Alan Kurdi, washed up drowned in Turkey, you may remember a few years ago. 5 years ago, every day, families died, with babies and children crossing from Iraq or Syria to Greece. I waited with mothers in Kos with 8 new babies, waiting for a boat to Athens. They could no longer stay in tents in Kos. There was no sanitation, no food, no water for their babies. Most of the world is scrambling for life. Most of the world needs health care. Most of the world needs what less than 1% could give to help create an infrastructure on which the rest might build their lives. So thank you for all the truths that you have exposed today. Thank you, Steve Zeltzer, for seeing that this happens. Thank you, John Curl, for Zoom hosting and taking care of all of us and making sure that everybody gets in and has something to say. And I think I will finish with one, since there's been such great music all over, I'll finish up with a little song on freedom. It's very short. Is learning to love. If you love, is it then that you're free? Just look to the birds in the skies up above. Their song is a love song to me. Let me be free now to look to the light. Give me the strength to be bold. Just give me one moment to make the world right, and the courage before I grow old, and the courage even when I grow old. Thank you. And thank you, Carol, for standing up for Roe v. Wade there in your travels. I don't remember all of that, but you had a wonderful little chat remark. We're not a lot of chatting today, but thank you all of you for coming. Thank you again. And you know, I like saying, be brave, be real, be honest, and just blessings to all of you. Thank you, John, Steve, everybody. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and keep writing. Yes, keep writing. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.